Rhode Island is home of hundreds of multifamilies with a small commercial space on the bottom. How is this recession going to impact those landlords? Will they have the opportunity to sell on the open market, or is it just restricted to a small group of potential commercial buyers? And also, what can they do to maybe save their property? This and more with Greg Rice with Nexus Property Management up next. You know, these multifamilies with the storefronts, and unfortunately with what's going on in the economy, a lot of these small businesses are probably gonna close, right? These restaurants, these shops, you know, souvenir place, I don't know. A lot of them could potentially close, and you see some opportunity in there, don't you?
I do, and I feel really bad that the opportunity is arising based on, you know, this pandemic. But if you look at Rhode Island, it was a state born on blue collar. So a lot of properties have first floor commercial units and second and third and even fourth floor apartments. So what you're seeing now is properties like this are the first to go because the first floor is no longer generating any revenue. These bars, these restaurants, these little small shops, okay, clothing stores, liquor stores, they're struggling.
The opportunity is this, okay, is if you own one of those buildings, okay, and if you no longer are able to manage the payments, before you sell it, you should talk with a property management company like Nexus. You may be able to turn that commercial space into a residential space.
Right.
Absolutely. And there's sometimes where the floor is big enough, you may be able to put two one-bed units, or three or four, you know, depending on the space. Now, if you do have to sell it, the good news is there's certain stipulations in place where you can get buyers with as little as 3.5% down, because it's not a normal type of commercial property.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about restructuring the property from a commercial to a residential use. And I think city and local and state governments have to be open to zoning adjustments. If you look at World War II, when all the soldiers came back home, most properties in Rhode Island got changed from single families or two families to three families and four families because there was a housing need. There was a housing crunch. So zoning laws got loosened so we can have these apartments. And city and state governments need to be able to loosen the zoning requirements from commercial to residential. And usually that's not a hard thing because commercial requirements are much more stringent than residential ones. So my message is to all these, you know, cities, Pawtucket, Providence, be willing to adjust your policies so that people can make best use of all of these properties that are going to be going up for sale and are now vacant.
And one other thought with that too, I really feel that, you know, people are realizing they can work remote, and a lot of different jobs that people were like, no, I can never do this remote before, they were forced to do it. And now we have all of this innovation. We have all this technology that was already available, but keeps getting better and better and better and allows us to work remotely. What I think is going to happen is I think you're going to see a lot fewer people in the near future returning to office space. I think you're going to see a lot more people working from home, a lot of companies running out of households because the overhead is less. And ultimately, I think it makes sense, not for everyone, but for some stuff. So yeah, I don't think it's a problem turning these commercial spaces into residential.